Yo guys, what is up? Moxie here in a Borderlands 3 video, and today we have my level 57 flak build. Now, not gonna lie to you guys, am not the biggest flak player, and have struggled with him before doing the true takedown. Now this build, Galactic flak, is one of the first builds that have absolutely demolished true takedown. I didn't love playing flak, and this build has changed that for me. So if you guys aren't loving flak or do like him and are looking for a new build, this build absolutely crushes it. I'm having so much fun with it. And before we get into the video, two things. First off, most of my viewers are not subscribed to me. So if you guys want to check that little red button down there and see if you're subscribed, and consider hitting that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content, really do appreciate it. Number two, huge shout out to two guys, Rotori and Daquan, two absolutely incredible flak players that made a build called Gunboy Flak that this build is inspired on, and they helped me very much with this build. So huge shout outs to get those guys. Make sure to check them out. Their stuff will be down in the description. And with that, let's get into the video.
One day, I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. And so I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie.
Alright guys, so showing on screen right now will be the skill tree for our level 57 Galactic flak build. Now my prior flak builds, Phase Flak, Radio Flactive, Seeing Red Flag, were mainly focused on the blue tree and the red tree. Now I have tried this build with blue tree, red tree for true takedown, the exact same gear with the best blue tree, red tree setup that I can think of, and it just didn't work out very well. I still love the blue tree, but the ability of flak to now grab the power inside and Megavore is ridiculous. And this build embodies the philosophy with flak that your whole goal is to kill enemies before they kill you. If you are quick and intelligent when you play this build, you will have no trouble getting through true takedown, but we're not using any crazy healing mechanics, nothing broken. Rage and Recover is probably flak's biggest survivability skill here, and genuinely helps him a lot. But this is a true to form flak build of you're gonna one-shot pretty much every enemy and just make sure that you kill them before they kill you. Now, let's talk about this skill tree, and then we'll get into the gear and everything else that's working with this. Real quick, the number one gun for this build, the build is based around this gun, is the Garcia shotgun. Now, this is an absolutely incredible Jacob shotgun that drops from Chonk Stomp in Eden 6, and this build works amazing with it. It was recently buffed, and with flak, it truly shines. Now, this shotgun, we can get a 30 round mag with our Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge to basically just murder everything. This gun does bossing, mobbing, anything you want to do with it, and is the focal point of this build. Now, we're going to be talking about other weapons that work absolutely awesome with this, but just know that the Garcia so far is my favorite shotgun with this build and favorite weapon. Now, let's get into the tree. Now, there's nothing truly groundbreaking here going on with our skill tree. No, like, hidden ricochet mechanics or barrier amp things. It's just a solid flak build that exploits as much possible damage as we can get. Now, we're grabbing Interplanetary Stalker for damage, pet damage, robot bonus, human bonus, and beast bonus with corrosive damage, action skill damage, movement speed, all good stuff. Mainly grabbing this for the damage stack. The movement speed stack is nice when it triggers, but doesn't happen all the time. Leave no trace. When we score a critical, there's a chance for 1 ammo to be added to our magazine. Awesome skill with flak, and allows our Garcia, which has 16 pellet max, to spray and continuously give us back ammo. Head count is really awesome here. Now, we're using a multi-pellet weapon and doing something with this multi-pellet weapon that's basically cycling out fadeaway. That is part of the reason why this build actually has such high survivability, is because we're basically going to be nuking enemies, killing another one, and we're going to be hitting so many crits with so many pellets that we can go right back into fadeaway, which is very nice. We're grabbing Hunter's Eye, which is going to give crit damage bonus, armor damage bonus, and damage reduction. Not the most amazing skill in the world. This skill was recently fixed, and Wither Points is the best option for us. We're not going Two Fang because most of the weapons we're using here are focused on multi-pellets. Now, Two Fang gives us 1 extra projectile, and when using multiple pellet weapons is not really worth the point investment. Next, we're going big game. 3 out of 3 here for Hunter skill duration and Hunter skill effects. The most dangerous game whenever we kill a badass. Crit damage, gun damage, handling. Galactic Shadow for increased crit damage, and Megavore. You guys know Megavore. It is an absolute star and pretty much used in most flak builds. Nothing too groundbreaking in this tree. Grim Harvest. We don't need the action skill damage. Doesn't actually boost our fadeaway damage. And with that, let's get into the green tree. Now we're grabbing self-repairing system for max health increase and health regeneration. Now, Flex health regen skills aren't great, but we're able to get enough in this tree to actually keep us alive. We're grabbing all my BFFs now. 3 points here does look a little weird. I understand that. There's damage right here. There's cooldown right here. Why are we putting it in here? When we have our pet up, we can keep up our bonuses, such as our move speed and our critical hit damage, and have a chance to get revived when we do go down. Having your pet up is very nice, and it just kind of sucks when your pet dies. And 3 out of 3 into all my BFFs with the amount of health regen allow the pet in true takedown to stay alive up until Wotan. The pet always dies against Wotan. Wotan proves no match for the pet, but up until Wotan we can keep our pet up alive the whole time, which is really nice. Next up, turn tail and run. Now this is hard for me as an Amara main and probably as a Zane main second to stand still, but when we are doing our most damage we're going to be standing still. It's something that I've honestly had to practice not shooting and moving when in fadeaway, but to stop standing, you're going to get gun damage and fire rate, and while we're moving, we regenerate health and get damage reduction, which is very nice. Next, we're going the Fast and the Furious. While above, have health, flex, gun damage, and movement speed are increased. This synergizes really well with the power inside. We're not going Hidden Machine because it's a little bit buggy, not super reliant, and not worth the points because we are trying to get some survivability and some good damage here. We're putting those points into Rage and Recover. After killing an enemy, Flak and Flex pets regenerate health for a few seconds. Having 5 out of 5 into this skill is one of the nicest things we can have. Now, it's not the craziest health regeneration. You're not going to be able to tank Wotan damage, but we kill Wotan so fast that he doesn't actually have a chance to hurt us. Most enemies we can murder super quickly and maintain this health regeneration all the time. This, along with how often we are in fadeaway, allows this build to pretty casually mow through all content without actually having to worry about dying. You still need to play smart with this build. You are not Amara, you are not Zane. You still need to play intelligent, but it's very smooth using these skills. Lastly, the power inside, the double capstone with Megavore, crits, fadeaway, 50% increased damage. It's just silly. The damage that this build puts out is pretty gross, and I've been really enjoying it. For our augments, we're using Not My Circus. This, because of how often we're going into fadeaway, once gives our pet damage reduction and draws aggro, which is really nice. Now, if an enemy aggroes you and you go into fadeaway and they don't get de-aggroed, you don't get hidden machines. So that's why we're not worrying about that. And a blinking eye for the increased crit damage. We are not using Gorillas in the Mist because ASC damage is king with this build and in this meta. Now, while we're in Gorillas in Mist, one, our cooldown is shorter, our crit damage is lower, duration is shorter, our crit damage is lower, and it takes longer to get to our action skill elemental damage. Now, one awkward thing about fadeaway is when you're in fadeaway and you're using ASCs, you don't get the bonus till your last shot, so your first 2 shots are kind of wasted. Our setup is going to kind of fix that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But for the most part, Gorillas in the Mist, you're going to be in fadeaway for longer with less damage. The whole point is to use fadeaway, get our action skill and bonuses, kill a bunch of stuff, and then we'll be right back into fadeaway. Now let's talk about gear and everything else that's going on here. So the Garcia, the preferred anointment for this build is consecutive hits, and we're pairing that with a Mitosis Hunter Seeker and a Pearl of Knowledge. Now, the Garcia is a Jacob's weapon. All Jacob shotguns works. The Stagecoach is a great weapon, great for all flak players, but nearly impossible to get a ×25 version of. And this build works just great without it, so honestly, don't worry about the Stagecoach. Get yourself a Garcia, and you will be doing just fine. When we don't need to use weapons we don't need, and we can grab Garcias, which are pretty easy, dedicated drop, we're going to go with that route. Now, in terms of the other weapons, the Boomsicle, you guys know what this weapon is, absolutely disgusting, and on flak that can make it crit pretty often. This gun mercs anything. We're trying to go for consecutive hit on this. 100 ASE is great, and I'll explain why consecutive hits is good and why action skill and damage is good. But other weapons that are disgusting on this is the Good Juju. The Clairvoyance is really good. The Cure is actually really good. The Cure is a Jacob shotgun from DLC 2 that actually heals you. It has built-in lifesteal, and you can basically run all content in the game with just an unanointed Cure, because the synergy, the amount of damage that this build puts out, and the fact that it gives lifesteal, so do not sleep on the Cure. My controller died, so I guess we're going keyboard. Next up, so the strategy here that we're using for the most part is we're using fadeaway, which we can stay in fadeaway and throw grenades with Hunter Seekers. Now, Hunter Seekers are grenades, especially Mitosis Hunter Seekers, that basically throw out slow seeking grenades that shoot pellets that can stack up your consecutive hits anointment extremely fast, especially if you have one that can leave a dot, such as a red Mitosis Hunter Seeker shock fire, that will 1 hit enemies with pellets and 2 dot them for easy stacks of Pearl and consecutive hits. We're going to be stacking both at the same time. Both of these anointments work in the same way, and we can go into fadeaway, throw our grenades, and while we're in fadeaway, we can get to that 200% weapon damage bonus on the Garcia and the 120% bonus damage on the Pearl. And because of this strat, while you don't need to do it, we're grabbing our last 3 points with Persistent Hunter to give us action skill duration. This allows us to very easily get our consecutive hits anointment up and stacked safely while we're in fadeaway, because our fadeaway is so long. If you need to retreat, you've got this. It's going to give you bonus gun damage, but it allows for very easy stacking of our Pearl and of our Garcia with using our grenades. And we're using multi-pellet weapons. The Garcia shoots like ridiculously fast, so we can get that consecutive hits anointment and our Pearl stacked up very quickly. Within 1 shot of the Garcia, 16 pellets, you are going to have a full stack Pearl. 1 shot, 120% increased damage, which is disgusting. So that's the strategy that we're trying to employ here. Honestly, a 100 ASC works just fine, but the consecutive hits allows for the most damage potential. Now, in terms of shield and class mod, the one-shotter shield is the best in slot shield. We don't actually need to go tanky here because of the damage output. I've done true takedown with a level 50 one-shotter, no problem. We're murdering things so fastly, cycling fadeaway so quickly, that as long as we're putting out enough damage, we don't have to worry about dying. However, if you don't have a one-shotter, the stopgap is going to be your best friend because it gives you increased survivability. But the more damage you can get on your shield, the better. So, the one-shotter shield is the best in slot here, and as you guys know, the one-shotter shield works very well with multi-pellet weapons because it boosts all of the different projectiles instead of dispersing the projectile amp between them. Lastly, the Cosmic Stalker is going to be our best class mod for general mobbing, general use. Another great option is the Bounty Hunter for bossing, but the Cosmic Stalker, with our increased hunt power skill and the skills that it boosts into interplanetary stalker and big game, is best in slot. The Deadeye class mod, which I've used on a few other builds, such as this one with +5 into 2 Fang, doesn't work great here because we don't need one extra pellet. So the Cosmic Stalker is going to be your best for mobbing. It gets outshone a little bit by the Bounty Hunter in terms of bossing, but make sure to get yourself, guys, a Cosmic Stalker for the best results here. Now, I understand this looks like a god roll. It is a god roll, and in the clips that should be playing right now, I'll have a clip using this on Grave Ward, and then have a clip using a non-god rolled class mod. Just so you guys are aware, what we've learned about gun damage is when you have so much normal bullet damage calculated, you get pretty severe diminishing returns, and so honestly, like, super god roll, not god roll, is not required. And that is it. The best way, one last thing to talk about, the best way to get your grenades is from tag and frag. Regenerate a grenade every 10 kills. This allows us to keep up our grenades, and also from ammo pickups from enemies that we're killing is the best way to restore our grenade ammo. How this build plays, final and last point, is basically you're going to pop into fadeaway, throw a grenade or two, kill an enemy. You're gonna pop back into fadeaway pretty quickly after shooting a few more enemies, throw some grenades, and then keep recycling, rinse and repeat, and you will have no issues with this build. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you learned anything new and if you enjoyed the build. And guys, that is it. I will catch you in the next one. Galactic, Flag, and Moxie out. Peace!